this video we're going to be making little potatoes, which is a children's TV programme. So we're going to start with the tall one. So I've just mixed a type of brown, and I think we'll try it with a little bit less. So we're going to start with a ball and just roll it till you've got the creases out, any cracks, and we're going to roll it so it becomes a nice tall shape. Now you want to keep it rounded at the bottom and rounded at the top, but it wants to be a little bit narrower at the top than it is at the bottom. Okay, so that's our basic shape for our first potato. So for our second potato, I've gone for a slightly orangier shade. Now this one's reasonably round shaped, so I'm going to start with a circle. I'm just going to pinch it just a small amount just at the top, so only a really tiny bit, like that. So it's a little bit pear dropped shape, and that's the shape of our second one. So for our third little potato, I've mixed another shade of brown. It's a bit lighter than the others. It's a little bit more of a caramel colour, so I'm just going to try and press out the creases. So again, we're going to start with a bit of a ball. This one's slightly oval shaped, and we're just going to narrow it just a little bit at the top by pressing our hand in to create that kind of shape there. Okay, and that's our shape for our third potato. For our final potato, you're just going to take a ball of darker brown fondant. Now it wants to be a bit larger than the other ones, and I'm just trying to rub out the cracks. I'm covered in brown food colouring, I'm afraid. And this one's a basic round shape, is this potato, so we're just going to keep this one in that kind of shape like that. Okay, so that's all our shapes now done. We'll give them some faces and some little green bits of hair or leaves that they've got on them. Okay, so we're going to put some faces on our little potatoes. So we'll start with the tall one, and I'm just going to use a modelling tool to put in his smile. Okay, so they're quite basic shapes. I'm going to do this one a slightly larger smile, so we'll put that in. And then what we'll do is, using the modelling tool, we'll open it up a little bit, put in, so they've got a slightly larger smile, so that these guys look like they're singing. So my modelling tool coming to pieces. If you don't want as wide a smile, you can just do it with the modelling tool, or even with a cocktail stick. And then our final potato, we're going to have him singing, so we're going to put this in, but we'll put it in both ways to create a bit of a circle, which I'll just push in a little bit, like that, so that it looks like he's got his mouth open. Okay, we're literally just going to take some white fondant. I'm going to roll it into balls. We're just going to squash it to create our eye shapes. And the biggest potato is the one with the biggest eyes. So I'm just going to pop a bit of water on the back of there. And I'm just going to pop these little eyes on. Now their eyes aren't perfectly round on the programme, so don't worry about getting them perfectly round. Okay. Our next chap's got slightly smaller eyes. Again, squashing them down. And then I'm just gonna try putting the water on his face this time. This one's eyes are a little bit closer to his mouth than the other one. Oh, if I can pick it up. I'm going to give them each a bit of blusher. So taking a bit of the pink that I've got in powder format. Now I have just dropped these, so they have gone everywhere, so I do apologise. Just using a dry brush, just carefully put on the potatoes where the cheeks would be. Now we won't see it on the darker one, so we won't worry about putting it on the darkest one. And we'll just put a little bit on the other ones. Okay. So we're just going to take a bit of green now for our potatoes now. Each one of them's got a slightly different colour shade of green, but we'll just go with this bright green for the first two. So for our smallest little potato, I'm just going to roll a little triangle which will stick to the top of the head. Again, you're just going to stick it using a tiny bit of water, or if you prefer, you can use glue. Okay, and then next to that, we're just going to roll a little curl, like so. That will just go next to them, and again, just using a little bit of water. Sorry, that's a plane going over again that you can hear. So, you'll see it's got the curl and the triangle on. Now for our tallest potato, just take a ball, squash it down a little bit and create a bit of a teardrop shape, because we'll create the leaf for this. And then just using the end of a tool, just putting a line for the centre of the leaf like that. We're just going to curl it up. And we're just going to stick that on the head. Like so. Just check that's on right. So just position it however you want it to go. Now this one doesn't have hair, so we'll leave that one to one side. This one's got darker hair. So we're just going to take a piece, roll it into a bit of a teardrop, and we're just going to flatten that a little bit. And we'll curl it over. And then we'll create some more of those. So again, we're just going to curl it over a little bit, and what we're going to do is put these two together, like that. Okay, so that's for one side of the head. And then we can stick that on, again just using a little bit of water. So just check where you want it to go. So like that. And then try and get the other ones as close as you can to matching. So we're going to paint the blacks into their eyes. Again, just using the food colouring. So I've got the Sugar Flare black one here. So just wherever you want the eyes to go. Now on this programme they don't have perfectly circular eyes, so don't worry if it's not in perfect circles. Just make them just a little bit bigger. Okay. you put them facing so that they're looking at different directions on each potato. Like that. And if you want to give them eyebrows, you can give them eyebrows. So again, using food colouring, just taking a fine brush, we're just going to paint on their eyebrows. Now they've only got really small eyebrows, so just literally a couple of little lines. The littlest one doesn't have eyebrows. This one does, but they'll be quite dark, so you might not see it very well. And there you have it, there's your potatoes done. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.